Dr. Mannis, would you say that Jung's process of individuation is the road or the path to finding the hidden meaning?
Absolutely, without a doubt. We know about the Black Book. We know about the Red Book. He did it. He was the original, and so his offerings we can take further, kind of as neo-Jungians, to understand our own journey from an allegorical perspective, not just people, places, and calendar events, which is fine. I'm not offering a judgment. I'm just saying to those discerning people, those centroverts that are called to understand their life more deeply, Jung provided the roadmap and Rebecca the means, because it's his understanding of symbology, symbols, that we can now consciously have a relationship to the unconscious that is brand new. This is 125 years old now. We're brand new with our ability. And part of that, I think, is to create a personal myth for dying as a way to both burnish your spirit and allow your present day life to be enhanced by your reflections on it and the courageous creativity of your own myth. Because it takes real courage.
And the negative capability between Jung and the Creator God was how he interacted with him.
Yes.
Throughout his lifetime, like that's a prime example of that reciprocal
relation. Yes, yeah, I think so completely, Rebecca. And I would also say too that when you embrace negative capability, all the parts don't fit together. Like this last piece I've shared with you about love, I still haven't figured out to my self-knowledge how to put love in the equation. I know it belongs, but this is as far as I've gotten with it. And I ended up, just like Bartholomew, just staring at that picture over and over. And, it's not like Jung could say, hey, I'm a bodhisattva. He couldn't say that. But you look at what he hung in his office, and there he is, down to the left, smoking his pipe, deep in thought. Maybe there's a connection here that doesn't have to be stated, or maybe I need to state it as part of my journey.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Yes, Ken.
I don't understand a lot of the negative concept.
Capability. Yeah.
I really don't think that eludes me, but how to incorporate love. It seems to me that love is part of the journey, and that's how we learn, that's how we grow, is through relations with other people. And if you, part of your mythology is that you believe that in past lives, then people you love in this life have shown up before and will show up again. So it's a continuum. That.
To me, that's negative capability right there.
You might want to repeat, because I'm not sure the people online can hear
Oh,
everything she said.
I'm sorry.
Repeat what I said.
Yeah, can you say it louder?
That love is essential to the growth of the individual. And, the relationship is part of that individual. It's, and that the people we love in this life have been in our if you believe in this, have been in our past lives and will be in our future lives. And that's, one
And-
mythology.
Well, I love it because that's an example of negative capability. And
Bob, could you explain that again for the people not in the room, what she just said?
yeah, I can try. That Kathy said that love is, if you will, a continuation of a process over multiple lives with similar people. I think.
Same spirit.
Same spirit.
Same spirit who show up in different capacities.
Same spirit in different
Yeah,
capacities.
like our spirit. If we believe our spirit,
Uh-huh.
then you bump into these other spirits, but in different forms and in different contexts and have different impacts.
Different impacts,
Yeah.
different forms. See, I like it because it's not strictly Newtonian logic. And therein lies the negative capability, because by embracing that, you're sustained and you understand the function of love in your life, but you're not being constricted to cause and effect, say, or a total explanation. And I think that liberal approach to your myth is a vital aspect in creating a sustainable myth. John, yeah, sure.
There's no one has raised their Zoom hand. You still can raise your Zoom hand if you'd like to ask a question.
My question was just around symbolic death, so like an ego death, the dark night of the soul, that kind of thing. Is this myth still very important to be able to get through those rocky moments, or is it like taking those rocky moments and then using them as part of your myth? Is it like a cyclical thing, I guess is sort of what I'm getting at?
I'm of the opinion that Jung's or the concept of circumambulation. I've clinically worked with people for whom issues are very discrete, and as they live their life, they revisit those issues, those struggles, that pain, that woundedness, and as they grow, they take on a deeper and more, I think, wholesome dimension the more it's revisited, because I see psychotherapy as more of a circle than a linear from here to there. But each time it's revisited, people's growth is enhanced, their myth is enhanced, and I believe their spirit also is enhanced by that process. Raj.
The second time you're using the phrase personal myth for dying, I realized is for dying in the expression redundant. It felt like it isn't, as opposed to just a personal myth. It's not redundant. So what's your thought in thinking, or when in thinking the for dying is significant? It's just not simply personal myth. I could conceivably live my life and also have a personal myth, the hidden part, living without thinking about dying.
Sure, you could, but generally speaking, the thought of dying brings an edge to situations, the terminus of your life. And I think a lot of people struggle with, what did my life mean? What was this about? What happened?
As it's made its presence imminently known,
And
when it's kind of maybe too late.
yeah.
You have to figure it out last minute.
Well, that's what Jung said about dying, on his deathbed, that Jung said this or that isn't going to help you. But if you've been working on your own myth for dying, I'm of the opinion, and I stated it earlier, that burnishing your spirit like that intentionally, struggling with it, honing it, looking at it, working with it, may very well enhance the process of your own death and carry on in transfigured form as traces. Maybe, maybe not, but nobody knows definitively. But I think it's a heck of an effort to make in the light of the wonderful grace of having had this life in this time, for all the struggle and pain that it brings. There's also an incredible beauty to it and a personal gratitude about having had this opportunity here and now. Any other questions?
I'm not getting any online here.
With being receptive to consciousness continuing after death, do you think there's any chance that would connect it all to the dream world?
Jung felt so. The dream world is the unconscious. And he felt that when you die, whatever the consciousness you had, and remember he said definitively, at least his myth is, without question, there is a consciousness after death. And for him, it was a consciousness into the unconscious. So yeah, I think that's where he saw his spirit going, or his transfigured form going. But he was very clear, and I found personally great solace when I read that quote, that, hey, Jung thinks, consciousness continues after death. Now, there's some that would argue, like the Buddhist notion, that upon death and arriving at nirvana, the whole ego is dissipated and there's no knowledge whatsoever of having lived or of having an individual identity of any kind. That basically consciousness just is illusion anyway. And now you realize that illusion in death. Maybe Jack would have more to say about that, but...
How did you know? I can't remember the translation, but the concept that grew out of Buddhism, written about followers of the Buddha, called Bhavanga Chitta, which sort of means the stream of unconsciousness. So what some Buddhists believe, the Theravada school, is that what lives after is the part of you you never knew.
Okay.
That's another idea.
Well, there's some negative capability there, too. See, I like that concept so much because we're not just reduced to that Newtonian cause and effect, how we evaluate things, the statistical paradigm that I imbibed way too much of is the ultimate truth. I'm just not buying it. And so I like the latitude to not have to reduce it or defend it to anybody else. It's for you. And your self-knowledge is the essential piece that confirms it. And you don't have to promote it or defend it. It's yours.
Can I interrupt a minute? Because I'm online and I don't see the sign to raise your hand. And maybe that's why one is, you're not finding anything. But it's getting close to the end, so I'd like to thank Bob very much for this. He has such deep, complex concepts that I hope that I can re-listen to this. I know it's being recorded. I'd like to know how we can listen to it again.
Well, thank you very much.
This is Diane, Bob. I don't know if you can see me here.
I can't see you, Diane.
Okay.
But
Okay, but Christine also has a question here.
okay.
But But can you answer my question about listening to the recorded?
The recording will come out after the program is over tonight. I'll be sending it to everyone.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Bob. And just one more thing.
Sure.
You know, this negative capability, I understand it, but I don't like it being called negative. It's so positive to be able to hold this uncertainty with equanimity. You know, it's...
I got the feeling he was a bit of a contrarian himself. And so, yes, I agree that it could be phrased positively, probably and much more understandable. But it's kind of nice that he's a contrarian, too, I think. Is my bias.
So this is Keats' wording. Is that right?
I'm sorry?
This is Keats' wording.
Yes, his words. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, now Christine, you want to unmute and you can ask your question?
Hi, yeah, I had an observation. I had imagery, Bob, as you were speaking, and I just had the life cycle of a tree. You know, the chances of germination are not always that high, and then there's this sapling that's like just struggling against the other trees that are trying to grow, and it gets bigger and bigger, and it provides structure to the animals that live in the tree and the soil, and there's an interaction with the soil, the mycorrhizae bacteria that share nutrients with trees, and then the tree finally dying and falling over. And in the Northwest, there are those trees that have their saplings growing out of the dying tree branch. And so there's this sort of gradual transition from life to death and the sharing of nutrients and space. And so, boy, have I got a mind full of ideas at this point. And I really like the time scales, both of those very large trees, the thousands of years that go into the life cycle of a tree, and also actually the evolution of the planet, where the trees brought oxygen, converted carbon dioxide to oxygen, and allowed us to disrupt all the carbohydrate, the CO2 dominant species, and now we're here, and then one day we'll have too much oxygen and we'll all die off because it's lethal, and
well,
something else will
you know, I would say...
Boy, I got imagery to work with. So
yeah.
I wanted to share those visual images in case they're helpful to anybody. Thank you so much.
I like, Christine, the spirit that you're speaking to. That this imagery will sustain you and help you to polish your spirit. I like that. Okay.
We have another question.
Oh, we do. All right.
Linda Mary Edwards, will you please unmute and ask your question?
Hi, Robert. I just wanted to ask you, what burnishes your spirit?
Thank you. I think what burnishes my spirit is love. And I think love has lots of different ways of being expressed. But I think the soul work that my patients do in their journey helps me greatly with my spirit, and the love that is available to us as human beings. And I don't want to sound like some naive hippie from the 60s, you know, but I do think that there's a profundity in love that is its own mystery. And of course, as I said before, the fear of abandonment, you know, goes along with love. So thank you very much for asking.
Well, it was a beautiful answer, and I'm in Wales in the UK, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm glad I managed to stay awake for this answer. It was worth it.
And I have to say that part of me is Welsh. Yeah, I'm. My mother's side is Williams.
Excellent.
So I was in Wales once, and my wife is a Jones, and I'm a Williams, and we were at a beautiful pub in Wales, and I was telling the individual by the fire who had this nice wool jacket on, smoking his pipe, drinking his beer, and he said, well, that accounts for 3/4 of everybody in Wales.
Well, come back again.
Thank you very much. My honor.
Do we have anybody else that wants to ask anything?
Okay. Well, then, can I hijack us for 5 minutes more?
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to read, for dessert, I would like to read to you some of the death poems that people have written. This is Inigo, and he wrote this in 1281. 73 years I've drawn pure water from the fire. Now I become a tiny bug with a touch of my body. I shatter all worlds. And this is from Jensen from 1390. Life is like a cloud of mist emerging from a mountain cave, and death, a floating moon in its celestial course. If you think too much about the meaning they may have, you'll be bound forever like an ass to a stake. Isn't that great? Gosh, these guys are real contrarians. They've taken it to a high art. Let me read just a couple more and then a poem I want to recite. This is from Jacquerie in 1391. From the day of my coming hither, full 70 years have passed. Now setting out on my final path, my 2 legs trample the sky. Okay, last one. I really like this one. The surface of the water mirrors many things. That was it. And then he died. That was recent, 1825. Same year that, no, Keats died in 1820. All right. So here's a poem from my posthumous buddy, Bosco. I visited you last night in a dream you can barely remember. I wished you a star to carry that dream through a clear black night, late in November. It was a quiet wish, uttered in moonlight, planted in hope, nourished with love. It was sent to salve your frightened heart with time to heal and the courage to grow. Your hard, uneven night will eventually ebb as the shards of pain meld into morning. May that distant dream bring a joy to your heart as dawn's soft light caresses your soul. Tonson. Thank you.